Now we turn to the next section, the Holy Spirit's plan of forgiveness. Atonement is for all because it is the way to undo the belief that anything is for you alone. The world functions by believing that the atonement is only for a select group, and we are all adept, subtly and not so subtly, at excluding certain people from the sonship and from love, believing we can find happiness through separation and judgment. We need to see this selfish trait in ourselves without guilt, to be able to say, yes, that is what I am doing because I am an ego like everyone else, and I no longer wish to practice such self-centeredness and hate. In this negation of the ego's negation of love, denying the denial of truth, we learn to reverse our identification with the ego's principle of separate interests and come to accept the atonement for ourselves and for God's Son as He created Him. To forgive is to overlook. Look then beyond error, and do not let your perception rest upon it, for you will believe what your perception holds. Recall our previous discussion of overlooking. Further on in our symphony, Jesus speaks of sins and guilts appearing as a solid wall of granite. Yet when we look at them with His gentle love beside us, we realize that they are not walls at all, but fragile veils with no power to hide the light shining through. When we forgive, we do not deny our perceptions of sin, our judgments and condemnations. But as we look, Christ's vision takes us beyond them. Chapter 12 will teach us to see attack as an expression of fear, and fear as a call for the love that has been denied. This, the Holy Spirit's judgment, is no different from His plan of forgiveness, for it undoes the ego's false perceptions of separation, differentiation, and specialness. Accept as true only what your brother is, if you would know yourself. Perceive what he is not, and you cannot know what you are, because you see him falsely. Remember always that your identity is shared, and that its sharing is its reality. The Holy Spirit takes our perceptions of separation and uses them as the royal road, borrowing Freud's term once again, to lead us to the thought of separation that was the mind's unconscious decision. The sonship is one in illusion and reality, and we will never awaken to this truth as long as we maintain we are separate and different from each other. One sinful, the other sinless. Learning the right-minded correction of shared interests helps us to reflect our shared identity as Christ, that is God's one Son. The atonement is a lesson in sharing, which is given you because you have forgotten how to do it. The Holy Spirit merely reminds you of the natural use of your abilities. By reinterpreting the ability to attack into the ability to share, He translates what you have made into what God created. If you would accomplish this through Him, you cannot look on your abilities through the eyes of the ego, or you will judge them as it does. All their harmfulness lies in the ego's judgment. All of their helpfulness lies in the judgment of the Holy Spirit. We can now see how Jesus continually returns to this theme of the mind's power to choose, salvation's only hope. A sub-theme is how the Holy Spirit uses our ability to miscreate and turns it into the means for remembering our heavenly function of creation. The ego's strategy has been to cause a veil of forgetfulness to fall across our minds so we have no memory of or access to this power. However, calling upon a different teacher allows the mind's choice for harmfulness to be transformed into helpfulness, and we gently waken to the self that God created. This theme has its most succinct statement further on in our symphony, in the context of our special function of forgiveness. Such is the Holy Spirit's kind perception of specialness, His use of what you made to heal instead of harm.